Hi, yes. Today I wanted to jump right into the story of Joseph. Joseph was a wonderful man of God. In fact, he had the favor of God on his life from the day one. However, his brothers hated him. He had favor with his father and his heavenly father. His father absolutely loved and adored him. I mean, he would just do anything he could that Joseph would feel good about who he was. So, as his father was showing him favor throughout his life, his brothers got very angry. They were very jealous. They were very envious and hateful towards him. So, they found a way to get rid of him. They came up with a plot, they came up with a plan. And in this plan, this was their idea. And you can find this story here in Genesis 37. So, as his brothers came up with a plan, they decided to just get rid of him. And they were in hopes that something bad would happen to him. So, they all came together, and as they got rid of him and just threw him away as if he was a piece of trash, they came up with a plot to come tell the dad that he was deceased. So they told the dad, they think something happened to him. They had his garments and made it look like there was just monstrous situation that took place. So his dad was very hurt. He was grieving the loss of his beloved son. The son that he favored, the son that he loved so dearly is now in his head dead. All his dreams, all his ideas for his son. It wasn't just his son dying, but it was his idea for his son's life. Can you imagine that? That his dad could just picture who Joseph would become, how great he would be, what he would do, and all of those things were just shattered in a moment. And not only was it shattered, but it was shattered by a lie. So his dad began to grieve, and he was dealing with all these emotions and feelings of losing his son that he cherished so much. So his brothers tried to do evil toward him, thinking that they will prevail over the plan of God, because Joseph was telling them what God was showing him about his life. So time goes on, and he gets over. He's a slave now, right? He's a Hebrew slave. He's looked down on. He's amongst all other slaves. However, God's favor never left Joseph. So though he was a Hebrew slave, though he was around others that were servants and slaves to the lowest of level, he still had favor of God upon his life. In fact, he became favored with Potiphar. He became so favored that Potiphar gave him everything, right? Within his whole command of, do you want to eat this? You can eat this. You want to drink this? You can drink this. And so as he's rising up in the house of Potiphar, amongst people that are not his own, right? He's rising up because the favor of God is upon his life. The same way for some of you, the favor of God is upon your life. So people have tried to put pain on you. They've tried to put suffering on you. They've tried to hurt you. They've tried to harm you. Even your own kinfolks. But you have prevailed. And they're like, how? How did this person make it out? Because you have favor upon your life. That same favor that Joseph had, you have. Okay, let's get back to it. So Potiphar's wife begins to seduce Joseph. She begins to, she's coming for Joseph with everything that's in her. She's going after him with all of the lust and the pride that is in her heart. And as she's going after him, he's like, no, I cannot do that. Your husband has gave me so much. He has blessed me. As a Hebrew slave, I have been blessed in your household. So I will not betray him in that way. Come on, faithful people. Come on, people that know how to hold a standard anyways in regards to whatever situation they're in. That's what Joseph did. Joseph said, no, your husband has given me everything except you, rightfully so, and I will not be seduced by you. She kept pressuring him over and over and over because she's looking at him. He's in a lowly position. She's in this big high position. She feels she's better than him. She can have him the way she wants him. She can lust after him and he's going to fall for it. And he never did. In fact, the pressure got so hot, he took off and he ran. Come on, somebody, he ran. You know when you run, you want to get out of there. Let's just be real. When you run, when you start to run, you want to go. And that's what he did. He got up and he ran. But she grabbed a hold of his cloak. And what did she do? She went to her husband with all the lie and deceit within her heart. Now Joseph is dealing with this same familiar spirit. Remember? He dealt with that deceitful brothership that he had with his brothers, right? Now he's dealing with another deceitful spirit. So he didn't left his home. And now he's in another home dealing with the same spirit. The same spirit, different person. Sometimes you leave one situation and you get right into another one. However, there's a ram in the bush in this story and we're getting closer to it. So as she begins to cry to her husband and Joseph came on to her and he wanted her and he tried to take advantage of her, her husband placed him in jail. So now he's back what looks like to be square one. He's in jail for something he didn't do. Literally. You know how people go to jail and they say they didn't do it? No, Joseph really did not do anything. He's in jail now on behalf of a lie. Imagine the betrayal that he felt in his heart. A lie, not the truth. Not something he really did, something that he did not do. He did right. And still went to jail behind a lie. So as he's sitting in there pondering, thinking about his life, still giving God the glory, still loving the Lord, Potiphar begins to have dreams. Potiphar begins to be dealt with from God. And his gifting, Joseph's gifting, he's able to interpret the dream only because of God. He was able to interpret that. And it elevated him into second in command over Egypt. So you see how the enemy, right, lied and tried to seduce through his wife, caused him to be in this situation. But yet, even that lie could not hold him because he had favor. Come on, somebody put in the chat. Come on, favor. The favor was too strong. Even a lie couldn't hold him back. It held him down temporarily, but not permanently. So you all that are dealing with temporary situations, don't let it break you down. Sometimes when you pour into the right and you're doing what you're supposed to do, things don't work out. But it doesn't mean it's going to stay there forever. That's the thing. That's why they say, hold on, keep going, keep doing right. You'll reap the reward. And so he's second in command, and a part of the dream was preparing Potiphar and his people to not go through the famine that was to come, right? That's what the dream was about. And so as Potiphar is beginning to go through this process and he's beginning to have this spiritual awakening of, wow, a famine is coming. Now, what Joseph's brothers did not know was even though Joseph had favor from God, God was going to use him to save them. So while they wanted him dead, while they wanted him to be nothing, what they did not realize was that favor upon him was going to rise up on them. That same favor that God had on him, he was going to bless the brothers. But they didn't see it. They were too vindictive. So come on, y'all. So as this gifting works and everything works out and favor is in his hands and favor is in his, and so now his brothers come through. It's a famine and they need to eat. And his brothers come through. As his brothers begin to come through, you guys, he's able to forgive them. He chose to forgive them. He said, you know what? I forgive you guys. You guys did what you did. You meant it for evil. You didn't mean good for me. But I'm going to still mean good for you. So he blessed his brothers. He blessed them. He encouraged his brothers. And it was just so amazing because as he encouraged his brothers, They were able to reap the benefit. Then he was able to be restored with his dad. His dad comes back around. His dad is like, what? Son is not dead. His dad is able to bless both of his sons, right? His dad is able to reconvene that relationship. That rapport is restored. And so that's what I'm saying. You see how they thought, see, human plans cannot debunk God's plans. That's the thing that we have to remember, you guys. Stop giving human beings so much power, because they cannot debunk God's plans. What God's plan is final for your life. Stay encouraged in who God has said you are, and you will see the end of it. No jealous family member, no jealous friend, no jealous frenemy, right, will be able to stop the favor that is up on your life. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Yes, we were sharing about Joseph today. I absolutely love and respect the story of Joseph. God's sovereignty is amazing. I want to read Genesis 50:20, and it says, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. And so you guys, when people mean evil against you, just know God has you. You know, God has you, and it may look uncomfortable for a while. Of course, Joseph sitting in jail behind a lie, of course that was hurtful to him. But he did not allow that to stop his progress in God. He still allowed his spiritual gifts to operate, and he still was able to be blessed. And most of all, he was able to not only forgive his brothers, but to see his father again before his father died, because his father was upper in age at that point. And so for him to be able to see his father was an amazing experience. Thank you guys so much for hearing about the life of Joseph, a great man. He ran, and he ran for a good reason. And so thank you for joining in to Faithful Talks with Tor. I will be up online, which will be my 30th day, technically, on the 24th of this month. Thank you again so much for joining in to Faithful Talks with Tor.